So today we're going to go through the core KPIs that allow 3D printing to be a more optimal option in order to create a synergy with other companies that are looking to manufacture a product rather than using traditional manufacturing. This is the basics of 3D printing for the CFOs. So this is mainly a financial analysis, the financial benefits that 3D printing can have based on how it is implemented inside of a company. We're not going to necessarily look at the engineering or any of that. We're going to be looking at the line items inside a balance sheet or income statement that a CFO would be interested in when considering the trade-offs between 3D printing or traditional manufacturing. So let's dive right in. The very first and most obvious benefit of 3D printing is the fact that it has no molding cost. The setup is minimal to zero. So rather than purchasing, admittedly, an asset that can stay on your books, you are instead retaining that cash, so that cash can be put towards other types of assets or towards the actual production of the part itself. This gives you more cash flow, which is useful if you are a startup, but if you are an established company, you are able to take basically the balance sheet item of the injection molding depreciating assets, which could be very substantial if you have a lot of separate tools, and instead move that into free cash flow and cash assets, which can be deployed much more quickly. Because to be honest, even though a mold is an asset, it's not an asset that is fungible in any sort of way. You cannot sell your mold to someone else. They will almost always want to iterate on the product or change it up for whatever their organization is going to want to use it for. So a mold is an asset in that you put a lot of value and labor and effort into it, and it has value to the organization. But it has no value beyond that. If the organization gets into dire straits or something else, you are not able to access the money stored inside of that mold. It's not like real estate. It's not like your mother's ceramic cat collection. They cannot be sold on eBay. And for large organizations, that item, that asset list of molds stored in a warehouse can be enormous. They're also high risk because if they're stored overseas, then you might not be able to even get them back if some issue should arise. So it takes that very high cost line item that is also higher risk and basically eliminates it and drops it to zero, giving you more cash to actually deploy towards improving the part, improving the organization, putting somewhere else where it's needed rather than tying it up in the actual production. 3D printing has effectively no startup cost. All you have to do is get it integrated, which is radically less cost than a mold, 10 to 100 times less than the cost of a mold, if not just outright zero if the part is simple enough. Now let's go ahead and move up the supply chain. If you were using traditional manufacturing, you would be required to have an MOQ. You would have to produce 10 to 100,000 parts in order to amortize the cost of the mold. The model requires it. But with 3D printing, you're able to actually create smaller volumes that are admittedly a higher cost per part, but lower total outlay, which means that downstream, after the parts are made, you have less ancillary cost. If you have a mold produce 10,000 pieces, you then have to store those 10,000 pieces as they are being sold. Very often, it's estimated that warehousing costs can be 10 to 25% of the total retail value of the part after it's finally sold. Car companies are storing parts for 20 plus years in order to make sure there are spares for the cars that they have on the road. But since 3D printing is a fully digital process, no part has to exist until it's actually needed. So rather than paying warehousing costs for the next years and effectively having to project around that fixed cost of storing 10,000 parts in a box, you can instead figure out what your monthly consumption is and basically work a contract with your 3D printer in order to deliver those parts as needed and make sure you're hitting certain time dates. And you can change those time periods based on what's necessary. It might be every 3 months they need 10,000, or every 1 month they need 10,000, or whatever it might be. But it creates much more flexibility so that rather than producing a large bulk pile of parts, storing that pile, and then slowly selling it off, you just get the parts you need when you need them and create a holistic purchase order or contract that covers the full quantity of parts, but you only get them when you actually need them, reducing your long-term warehousing fees. And this same model also applies to the shipping itself. When you are required to order bulk amounts of parts, you have to put them in a container and ship them across an ocean and bring them here. 3D printing farms like here at Slant 3D are within the States, first of all, so they can ship less distance. And since they are able to produce in smaller batches, they don't have to ship them all at once, which again reduces your capital outlay. You don't have to pay the large shipping expenses or deal with the risk of supply chain should another pandemic come around. which simplifies the entire process and again, keeps more money in the bank rather than effectively storing it in the inventory. Traditional manufacturing requires a huge amount of stored sunk cost. You buy the mold, you buy the minimum volume of parts, and you ship them to a warehouse and you store them for the next 3 to 5 years. It is an expensive proposition to where you have to plan out and commit a large amount of capital. Whereas 3D printing gives you so much more flexibility to take parts as you need them and not have that large capital outlay. All of this is really about reducing that risk factor. Even if you are producing what is an existing product that is doing well, the long-term viability of that product is always in question, and you don't know how the dynamics of either the supply chain or the markets themselves will change the demand of that product. 3D printing offers the flexibility to either go smaller or go bigger as necessary without having to tool up every time. And this is especially true for new products that have a fantastically bad success rate, to where you could do all of that capital outlay, purchase all those parts and pieces, and then basically all have it disappear if the product doesn't actually take off and it's just canceled. You take the loss on your taxes, but it would have been more useful to just have the cash in the first place because you would not have lost the time. Now, those are all the financial reasons for using 3D printing, but what are the financial reasons against 3D printing? Very often people will come up and they'll speak about the actual higher cost of the printed part. While this is true, it is generally cheaper than the amortized cost of the mold and the parts themselves from traditional methods. And very often, if you are optimizing for the process, it can be even less expensive. The problem that many organizations have is actually in the engineering, where the part isn't optimized for 3D printing, and they try to put a square peg into a round hole by trying to 3D print an injection molded part. This is something that should not often be approved because it will create an inferior result. But if you design for that manufacturing process, it can be fine, and it will be just as cost effective, if not wildly more so, because you do not have the mold, you do not have the warehousing, you have reduced shipping, and you have a reduced risk factor, which are all components of the cost of a part. And if you want to actually see the breakdown of an individual part, we have another video where we go through injection molding versus 3D printing to see how the costs compare. 3D printing is often more expensive on a per part basis, but you're able to take fewer of them at a time, you do not have a large startup fee, and you do not have this effectively worthless asset in the form of tooling sitting on the shelf the rest of the year. The other issue that many people have with 3D printing is overall scale. Historically, it's been very kind of boutique-ish, but it is able to produce large scale. Here at Slant 3D, we have hundreds to thousands of 3D printers that are able to produce hundreds of thousands of 3D printed parts and do it reliably. And again, if we're working with you very closely and creating that supply dynamic of you only need certain amounts of parts per month, then we're able to spread it out over more machines and more reliably produce them for you. If you want 1 million parts in the next 24 hours, no, printing probably is not the best option. But if you want 1 million parts this year, absolutely printing can get that done for you. That scale is not an issue. And printing is actually more reliable because if a machine breaks down, our whole factory doesn't go down. So you have a more reliable supply chain. Overall, 3D printing is just a really good way to eliminate upfront costs by getting rid of molds, reduce ongoing costs in the form of shipping and warehousing because you don't have to store as much inventory because it can effectively be made on demand, and reduce your risk profile overall because you no longer have an asset that can be lost, a product that might need to be changed, or a mold that might need to be changed at some point. You are instead able to have this very flexible supply chain that is still scalable, but is able to match what you need rather than you having to change your entire business model to match a bulk batch of parts being dropped on your doorstep and then stored for the next few years as you sell them off. It releases so much more cash that can be used in other areas rather than simply being stored in held inventory. Have a great day, everybody.